Good evening, everybody. Let's check the audio here. Should be okay. Check, check, test. No checks, cash only. Good evening. Alrighty, so everything seems like it's working fine, except for the fact that I managed to give myself a bloody nose just as I was letting the dog in. The door caught on the carpet and it bashed me right in the nose. So I think I got it stopped. I'll apologize in advance if anybody sees any blood running out of down my nose and into my face. Holler, okay? I'll see if I can get it cleaned up. Otherwise, here we are. Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday. I hope you all had a great week. I did. Despite the fact that it seems like winter's here. It seems awful early. We had about 4 inches of snow overnight, kind of wet, heavy, nasty, thick stuff. I'm going to slip over here to the chat and catch up and see who all's here. Gary D's checking in at Burrow Creek Campground. Hi, Gare. Raining out there. Tom and I are all tired of election. I'm just tired of the damn ads. I think I think voting is, it's not a right, it's a responsibility. And I voted today. I hope you did as well. That'll be the last. That's about the only politics you're going to get out of me. I try to keep politics off the channel. Let's see. George, a.k.a. Dad, checking in from Fort DeSoto Park in Florida. Good to have you here, George. Tom's in from Whidbey. Tim Myers checking in from Ohio. Scotty's in from Bremerton. Great to have you here, Scotty. George, a.k.a. Dad, said he drove past a Class A on I-75 yesterday, totaled in a fire. Looks like a tire fire. Yeah, that's a drag. That's a real drag. Scotty says the only politics with him is his dog's trying to take advantage of him. So yeah, hopefully if it starts to bleed again, I'll excuse myself. Yeah, I posted a video link in the chat earlier of a video I did. Oh gosh, this would have been like 2017, 18. When did I do this one? Quite a while ago. It doesn't tell me right here. Of a fire in a Winnebago fridge that happened in the RV park I stayed at in Tucson for so many years. Still just checking up. Judy Kimbrough checking in from Alabama where it was 80 degrees and she wore shorts all day. Got to rub it in. Tom says they're having a fire tonight. Just sort of catching in here, catching up. Vincent RV Life's in from Florida Panhandle. Hi, Bruce. So nice to see you here. Scotty's talking about a guy, and I have seen this guy. My RV Works, and he's trying to start a channel, I guess, like mine, which is fine. I mean, there's lots of us out there. Competition, I guess. What did they say? What is it? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. But Scotty says if could have watched the first live stream, is still be laughing. Poor guy. It wasn't meant to be funny, but it was. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. Yeah, so Scotty, if you want to send me the link, I'll forward it over to Tom. I do have his email. I have my, seems like that's not going to bleed anymore. I have my YouTube channel and the chat and everything set up so you can't post links and stuff like that. It really cuts down on the spammers. Knock on wood. We haven't had a problem with spammers for a while. Tim says he almost started a channel for astrophotography, recorded the intro, and after watching it, abandoned it quickly. Oh yeah, Tim's doing a Discord server and live streaming, teaching them how to do astrophotos. That's cool. That's something I've always wanted to get into. So let's talk a little bit about that. You know, when you first start on YouTube, I go back and I'll be honest with you. I think I have, I don't know, something like 300 and some odd videos. Gosh, I don't even know. It's over 300. And I think if you count the live streams, it's got to be closer to 450. But I left my initial, sorry, my original content, stuff I produced clear back in 2016 on my channel, mostly because I think it's really cool to go back and look at the progress. I mean, you know, when I first started doing videos, they sucked. You know, and you're your own worst critic. That's always true, right? I mean, come on, there's no question about it. You're harder on yourself than anybody else. At least I am. But yeah, so I left it there to remind myself of how far I've come. And as far as live streaming goes, I kind of have a leg up on the live stream piece of it. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I worked in radio for 25 or 6 years. I don't know. I left the radio business back in 1996. It got big in corporate. Our stations were bought and sold 3 times in 3 years. I was operations manager, and I didn't know if I was going to have a job from one day to the next. And there was no way to live, and so I just finally got out of it. So I'm used to speaking. I'll have to say I've gotten really lazy, because when I go back and do some of my editing, I notice that a good radio announcer keeps the pitch the same, keeps his volume the same, and I used to be really good at that, but boy, I sure suck at it now. I have to do a lot of audio work on my videos to get the audio cleaned up. And particularly like with the Truck Camper Build series, you know, that's been all outside, so you're dealing with the outside environment, you know, wind, chirping birds, various other noises, barking dogs, garbage trucks, you know, loud vehicles, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so, you know, as far as starting a channel, basically all you got to do is just start it and start working on it. Okay, just do it. If you plan on or want to do a channel, don't be so critical about yourself. Practice, practice, practice. Do some videos, put them out there, take them down. It takes time to build an audience. It takes time to build a channel. You know, I've been doing this since 2017, so that's what, 5 odd years, probably right around 5 years right now. I've been doing YouTube videos and stuff like that, and I'm a little over 40,000 subscribers, but I have a pretty specialized channel, you know, about RVing. You know, there's other big channels out there that, you know, it's really weird what people like to watch and what people don't. You know, I've got some videos on my channel that are fairly consistent videos that get watched that have nothing to do with RVing, but you know, I try to keep on topic pretty much. I mean, you know, in 2020, after I bought the house, I did a bunch of home renovation videos, and there's a few of those that get some views, but you know, it's crowded on YouTube. You know, when I first started doing RV videos, there weren't that many, particularly people traveling. And now there's, you know, now they're a dime a dozen. You know, there's all kinds of folks out there with YouTube channels. And some of them that I watch and I really like a lot, and some of them, they just have gotten so repetitive, which is something I try to avoid. It's really hard to do. But anyway, yeah, as far as suggestions and tips go, if you want to do YouTube, just do it. Get started with it. put some content out there. You'll build an audience. You'll learn. You'll get better, and go forward. Tom Downey asks, have I ever heard of a company called North Idaho Energy Logs? I have not. I'm assuming that's a company that probably builds or makes those logs that they compress out of waste wood, sawdust and stuff like that. I don't know. I have not heard of them though, Tom. Robert Covington's checking in from Tennessee. Scotty asking telling Tim he needs to figure out how to use the Discord. EJ Weiss checking in. It's pretty easy. Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. Matthew Tola. Hey, Matthew, from Northwest Arkansas, Beaver Lake. Yeah, I know right where you're at. I just got back from Northwest Arkansas myself 2 weeks ago tonight. No, 2 weeks ago tomorrow. I was in Lyman, Colorado 2 weeks ago tonight on my way home. Beaver Lake is pretty nice. Good to have you here, Matthew. Eric Meyer says the old man ran into the door excuse. Still in Deming, 74 today. Yeah, ran into the door. George says got poor signal there. He's watching the spinning dervish. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh, there's Jay, Square Body Truck Camper. Good to see you, Jay. Looks like you got out for I got to tell you, I figured you were in the backyard about 2-3 minutes into that video. Square Body Truck Camper put out another camping video in his Square Body Truck Camper. And about halfway through, he finally reveals he's camping in his own backyard. That was pretty funny, Jay. That was a good video, good episode. If you're not subscribed, go over to Square Body Truck Camper. Search for him on YouTube and check out his channel. He's quite the character. Oh yeah. In fact, I just we'll flip over to that real quick. Tim is quite the astrophotographer. I have played with some of that myself. Let me see here if I can get this popped out, and so we can kind of share this. I always like to share, different kinds of content. Let's see here. I want to go to here, and then we'll go here. So this is from the lunar eclipse last night. Let me make sure I've got audio. I always forget that. Yeah, okay, we got audio. Anyway, so yeah, this is some audio or some pictures that Tim took last night. The only thing I could have seen of the eclipse was snowfall. But yeah, so the first picture there, obviously, before the eclipse started, and then we get this starting the beginning of the penumbral, or the beginning of it. And then the partial eclipse starts here in this photo. And then sort of completing, progressing on to totality. You can just barely see it in this one full. And then with the exposure lengthened, is commonly called a blood moon. Yes. I was lucky enough that in Tucson, I guess it was probably, I don't know when the last blood moon was. It would have been probably like January of, I don't know, maybe 19, something like that. That I got some really good photos of a full eclipse from over in Tucson. That was really good, and got some very similar pictures to what Tim had there. So good stuff, Tim. Thanks for sending that and sharing. Tom, I will send you this. Actually, I'll just post this. He's got more subs than I do, so he must be a happier camper than me. We'll check him out later, Scott. Okay, back to the comments here. Very envious of dark skies. Do vids on how to fix your aircraft. I'll send them by email. COVID and working from home led me to YouTube University, where I built my first PC and many other things. I spent hours surfing YouTube. Yeah, I've spent a fair amount of time on YouTube, but I kind of have I limit myself. My time on YouTube is usually in the mornings. I get up. There's certain things I watch, kind of almost every day. Kind of some overnight news updates from like the major networks. I'll catch up on some of my favorite channels. I really, if you, I could recommend a couple channels. Square Body Truck Camper's a good one, Jay. But I like Catherine Gregory. She is a vlogger, YouTuber, vlogger, traveler, hiker, backpacker. Very, very fun channel that she has. I watched a couple of the van lifers, not very much of the van lifers anymore. I watched some other RV content providers, remarkably few to be honest with you. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if you have a question related to RVing or anything like that, feel free to share it in the chat window. Of course, as always, if you're shy and you don't want to chat live, you can send me an email, trbolin, BOWLIN, @gmail.com. And I'll answer your question there. And if it's appropriate and fun, then I'll share it with folks on the live stream. I watch the Winds. They're in the process of getting a new boat. They're getting an all-electric boat. Looks like fun. I also watch, they're called Van Wives. They used to be van lifers, but they're building I guess they're rehabilitating a cabin up in Nova Scotia. That's been pretty good content. I sure like them. I watch some of the other cruisers. I get a kick out of the cruisers, what they call the cruisers. The sailor. I watch White Spot Pirates, Chuffed Adventures. A couple of those. Kenny of All Trades. I actually watch that one. Square Body every once in a while. There's some others that I watch. I don't know. Let me go look at my subscription list. I don't even think about it much anymore, to be honest with you. I watch Matt's Off-Road Recovery. It's pretty good. They're down in the Hurricane St. George area. And what I like about them is they get out and, recover dumb shits from the middle of the desert. Trail Mater's another one of those I watch. Fab Rats, I like to watch them. Laura Kempf. I watch Business Insider. Ingles Coach Shop. If you're interested in, I'm a build nerd. I freely admit it. But Ingles Coach Shop, he is up in Montana, and he's a wheelwright, and he rebuilds old wagons. He makes wheels. He built these big, huge borax wagons. Really a fun channel to watch. I watch April Wilkerson. Guy up in Blackfoot who does excavation, JPay Dirt. Our Wyoming Life. They're over there in Gillette. He's a rancher. I watch A-Bomb 79. He's a machinist. The Sand Van, I like those guys. They check in on the channel every once in a while. Mobile Internet Resource Center. Thomas Heaton, who is a photographer. Bus Grease Monkey, like his channel a lot because he's a wrench turner. Undecided with Matt Farrell. Very, very cool channel. Casey Liddell, he's in the Pacific Northwest and does off-road recovery as well. I mentioned Trailmater, he's in Moab and he does off-road recovery. U-Wrench TV, I watch those guys. Dr. Hannah Strait, America's Test Kitchen, USGS, Chris Harbor Natural Building, Wrangler Star, he's out of the Northwest as well, he's over in Oregon. Ann of All Trades, Gone with the Winds. I guess that's probably the ones I watch most often. Demolition Dave, Scott Manley, Adam Savage. Camp Gorwan. Linda's a friend of the channel. She checks in every once in a while. Wayward Wags I watch occasionally. CNS Schoolie Project, they check in occasionally. Love Mr. Carlson's Lab. LaCroix Cruiser. I watch Alton Brown. He's fun. Truckhouse Life, I haven't caught up on him for a while. Of course, our friends Mark at Grand Adventure TV. I don't know, I watch CERN, James Webb Space Telescope, Morton's on the Move. They haven't been as active on YouTube for quite a while though. They're also vlogger, travelers. Periscope Films, Hydraulic Press. I guess you get the idea, right? I mean, that's kind of the channels that I like to watch. Scotty says he'd like to get some sort of theft deterrent to keep his 2008 Dodge Ram 3500 Cummins from taking off without my permission. Anybody have some ideas? Yeah. I'll tell you something I did with an old Jeep that I had, and I just put a kill switch in it. And I just buried it. And basically it was underneath the hood, and I just had a switch on the, ignition circuit. And you had to get underneath the hood and flip a toggle switch. And a lot of folks won't, thieves are looking for low-hanging fruit. They're going to be in a hurry. And so that's a good way. I guess the other one would be to get one of those steering wheel lock bars. What do they call those? Anyway, yeah, I can't remember that. I can't remember what those are called. But yeah, those steering wheel lock bars are, I think, pretty effective to stop people from stealing your rig. Samson Boat Company, Tom. Yeah, I watched a little bit of them, but not much. Don't they make the Total Marine products, Samson? I've actually used some Total Marine stuff. They make great products for refinishing wood and boats and stuff like that. I've decided that a sailboat is just a 40-foot RV that will float and has a sail. They all have the same yeah, they're all the same. The Club, thanks Tim. Yeah, Tim says his son had one of those switches buried under the dash on his 68 Chevelle. Gary says he uses the Club in his truck. That's a good call. Yeah, the Club. I think those are pretty effective. Physical deterrent to somebody stealing a rig. Okay, so I had just a minute here. I thought I had some stuff set up here, and then I closed the damn window. Let's see here. I seem to have lost. Come on. Oh yeah, well, and I have to say this. I was just kind of going back, trying to get caught up on what I was, doing. I had some content prepared, and now I closed it all up. But I got a comment from FGW. that they were commenting on my Sealand 510 RV toilet refurbishing video. And, you know, they said that, and this is why I do those videos, right? I'm not doing them. Good night, Jay. Thanks for coming by. I don't do them for, you know, because to be honest with you, there's not a lot of money in YouTube given the size of my channel and how many views I get. But he commented and said, you know, they couldn't have done it without the video and they saved a ton of money doing it. And that's why I do them. That's why I do the videos, is try to help people save money, because it's ridiculous. You know, you got to wait 6 weeks to get into your RV repair shop. And then you got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for work that you could do yourself. And I'm not going to be able to recover that. I had all this stuff pulled up that I was going to review tonight. And I lost it all for some reason. That's unfortunate, but it's okay. I'll go back over to the chat. Oh, Tom Downey says Samson Boat Company's building a wooden boat 50 feet. I'm assuming is what you mean. Scotty says he has the club, but not sure how I would do a kill switch. Think if just interrupting the power to the relay should be an easy one to hide. Yes. Yes, you can actually buy a keyed switch if you want to go this far, you know, and do a keyed switch. But that might be a little obvious. I think the toggle switch underneath the hood, if it's not a daily driver, you know, because that might get to be a pain in the butt to have to get out and, you know, turn on and off all the time. But yeah, just a kill switch underneath the hood, hidden well. I would just put it in line with, you know, one of the, you know, with the power to your ignition, or, you know, maybe in line with a line over to the coil. I guess you probably don't have, well, yeah, you don't have a coil in a diesel, do you? Go try to buy that at the auto parts store. That and some chrome muffler bearings too. Yeah, how would you do that on a diesel? Yeah, there's got to be a line of some kind of a line that doesn't like completely kill all the power, because you don't want to do that. You just want to disable the vehicle easily. And so yeah, I would probably track it down and put it in the ignition loop somewhere. Tom says he just says a junk one that nobody wants. Scotty says not a daily driver. The batteries go flat in about 2 to 3 weeks. That works too. Yeah. Yeah, the starter relay. Yeah, that might work. Yeah, that's an actual simple one, because that's an external relay. And yeah, you could easily just do an interrupt on one of the lines to that. That would be pretty straightforward in the starter circuit, yeah. Tom Downey says he leaves the keys in the car, hoping someone steals it, collect the cash quicker that way. I tried that. Doesn't work, Tom. If it's too big a piece of crap, nobody wants to steal it even. Trust me, I've tried to get rid of some POSs, and doing that, and if they're a POS, nobody wants to steal it. I figured that part out. Just a quick commercial. If you like the content, be sure and give me that thumbs up. Appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Ring the notification bell. I got tons of great content still to come. Visit to my website at tarabolin.com is always appreciated. You can support the channel through Amazon. There's a link in the video description. If you connect through that link, it'll take you to my Amazon store. Then you can depart from there, go to anywhere on Amazon, purchase what you'd like. It'll cost you the same amount. I'll get a small commission, but like I said, you pay the same price. Then every little bit helps. I thank you for that. There's some other links in the video description to RecPro, and then also over to Renogy. I'm actually working on a couple of other setups with some other companies. that would be sponsorships, kinds of things that I may be able to get worked out. I was actually working on these before I had to leave 2 months ago to go to my pops. In fact, it was just almost 2 months ago to the day that I had to go down to Arkansas and send my dad on his way. Sorry. So yeah, and so I had to let everything drop, and so now I'm trying to pick that back up. Easy connector, magnetic 7-way trailer connector. Yes. Oh yeah, Scotty says, I just saw a new product today. Magnetic trailer connectors, pretty slick. Yes. Yeah, in fact, I actually got one of those. I got to Arkansas, and I was, tow-dollying a vehicle home, my brother's car, and I had to go buy one of those, and I couldn't find one locally, so I ended up buying one on Amazon that was magnetic. It worked both ways. It looked pretty cool, but it worked just fine. George back with the better connection. Good to see you back, George. Tom says he keeps the Jeep in the gauge when it is being towed. Huh? That's that voice recognition for you. It'll get you every time. But yeah, if you have a question, be sure and throw it over in the content. Let me go back and just scan through the chat because I may have missed things. Yeah. Garage, I figured as much. I'm teasing him, Tim. Yeah. Keep the Jeep in the garage when it is being towed. How can you keep it in the garage when it's being towed? You have a enclosed tow trailer? Is that what you got? Garage, yeah, I figured it. I figured you guys out. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so okay, well, sorry, I lost all my content, and I've been kind of dragging my feet here trying to round it back up, and I'm not having any luck. I had a couple things I was gonna chat about, and so let me just look and see if there's anything here that we've talked about in the past. Otherwise, I think we'll probably wrap it up for now. Keep this one short tonight. Okay, so yeah, I am gonna. We'll call this one good for tonight, unless you guys want to chat about other things. Feel free to throw in some comments. We're gonna move away from just chatting about RVing, and we'll chat about whatever you'd like to chat about tonight. Scotty says he can wait. There's nothing on TV other than politics. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Wow. You know, Tom and I were bemoaning that at the beginning of the chat, that I don't talk politics on the channel, but I'm sure sick of political ads. I can tell you that much. You know, I mean, just everywhere you go. I mean, I was getting the same, I'm in Idaho, I was getting the same damn Larry Craig ad 7 or 8 times an hour, watching videos. And then I would go watch the news, the morning news, and I'd get it 3 or 4 more times. So yeah, I'm sick of political ads. I'm sick of the whole political process, to be honest with you. Okay, that's enough politics. That'll get us in trouble if we keep going that. Tom says isn't being towed hard to steal one that's doing 56 miles an hour. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and those Jeeps are popular items to get stolen. Speaking of fires, we're going to go off track here a little bit. I've seen in the last week 3 different videos about people who have the Jeep, it's not the Renegade. What's the off-road one? Maybe it is the Renegade. But 3 different Jeeps that have caught fire and burned to the ground recently. I saw one on the news, one on YouTube, and a friend of mine showed me some pictures of his Jeep that burned down 2 years ago. almost set the desert on fire. So he got lucky. He had a good fire extinguisher with him, which is a good idea to carry in any vehicle. Yeah, it looks like Tim's offering Rubicon. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I couldn't think of that. Not Renegade, Rubicon. That's the trail rated, the whiz bang trail raiders, Um, but the equipment is what is explosive. I'm not following you, Tom. The fires that I saw were all electrical related, and one of them was electrical. My friend's Jeep that burned down was electrical, and they never did figure it out. It's really hard to, when something burns completely to the ground and there's nothing left than burnt metal, you can't really track down a shorted wire or anything like that. Oh, Scotty and Tim are connecting. Scotty, I will forward you Tim's email address, and you guys can get together offline on that Discord. That'd be cool. Sorry. So what do you guys think about daylight savings time? I hate it. I'll just be honest with you. I wish we'd quit falling back. I wish we'd stay forward. I don't care where we stay. Gosh, I just hate changing times. I was up at 3 o'clock this morning. I rolled over and looked at the clock on the bedstead. The headboard, I guess, is what I'm looking for. And it said 4, and I'm thinking, what the heck, I might as well get up. I wasn't sleeping anyway, and it was really 3. Wanda Rutledge, I agree with you, Wanda. I hate it. I hate daylight savings time. Yeah, Tom says it's the equipment that is expensive. Yeah, like the aftermarket equipment for sure. And Tom says that's why I use this separate harness. I never use the Jeep's wires. Scotty making me the matchmaker. Yeah, no worries, Scotty. Yeah, I'll send you Tim's email shortly, right after I end the stream tonight. Just making myself a note there so I don't forget. Yeah, the daylight savings time was instituted clear back at World War II, right? And so we've been living with it for 80 years. And, it just doesn't make any sense anymore. I remember back, when was the last energy crunch that we had? Might have been 2008. And they were all saying, oh yeah, daylight savings is going to help us save money and oil and, lights and that kind of crap. And I just think it's crap. People just adjust their lives, right? I mean, farmers don't care anymore. So yeah, I think daylight savings time is something that's seen its use. All right, well, I think we'll just call this one good for tonight. I will put together something for next week that's a little bit more interesting. And it's coming up on that time of the year when RVing tends to fall off. My channel gets really quiet. I have a very seasonal channel. What I mean by that is that it's really busy in the summer, and hang on a second here. So yeah, my channel is very seasonal, very busy in the summer, and then about this time of the year it starts to slow way down, and it'll be quiet now till March, and things will start to pick back up in March, April time frame when people get back into RVing. to that end, I've actually been thinking about maybe going to every other week on the live stream. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I'll probably keep on this schedule at least till the 1st of December, and then I'll probably reevaluate where we're at. I'm with you, George. I get up when I'm done sleeping. Sorry, I was just peeking. Back to snowing out there again. And I go to bed when I'm sleepy, right? I mean, I usually am in bed by 9-ish Mountain Time, and I'm usually up around 4. I figure that's 7 hours of sleep. That's pretty good. All right. We're going to call her good for tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining, and we'll see you next week. I will do something different with my content. Montana Boy 3777 checking in. Oh, by the way, it's a good time to change the batteries in your smoke detectors, when you change the daylight savings. I don't think you need to do it every time the clock changes. I think you need to do it once a year. I do mine in the fall. Montana Boy says, right now the National Fire Association is sharing information on all these vehicle fires with these lithium batteries and several house fires due to them being parked inside the garage. Yeah, and that's typically a charging issue, Montana Boy. That the charger actually fails. It's usually not the batteries. I think lithium batteries are fairly safe. But I learned something different about the Jeeps that I didn't know. They have now, they're so fancy, they've got 2 batteries. And I didn't know this. I guess they have one for starting and then one for something else. But yeah, NFPA, yeah. Vehicle fires with lithium batteries and several house fires due to them being parked inside the garage. Yeah, I think it was Kia. Somewhere I just saw here in the last couple months that one of the manufacturers of electric cars said don't park it inside. They could catch on fire. Well, that makes it kind of difficult when your charger's inside the garage, right? Duh. Scotty telling George he never knew how good retirement is. Yeah, I'd agree with you, George. I don't think I could ever go back to being somewhere for someone else every day. Tom says he's up at 6. Yeah, agree. Yep. Yeah, if I sleep to 6, I've slept in. I'm rarely up, or I'm rarely not out of bed by 5. Scotty says his idea of a tow bar is a pool with a swim-up bar. That's funny. That's a good one. All right, we're going to call her good. Thanks, folks. We'll see y'all next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Thanks. Oh, Tim says his dad had an old Toyota pickup that would start itself in the middle of the night. That's pretty good. Yeah. All right. Good night, folks. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming in. NFA trying to get these investigated, 2 batteries. Thanks, Scotty. Montana Boy. Yeah, National Fire Association trying to get these investigated. 2 batteries. Yeah, in the Jeeps. Good night, Tim. We'll sit here and chat for just a minute. One of them was the starter battery, and then another was something else. And I don't remember. It was a friend who has a Jeep Gladiator that was telling me about that. And I was only half listening, I have to admit. But yeah, 2 batteries. One of them's lithium. One of them's lead acid. One of them's lithium. All right, nighty-night. Oh, see, yep, hard to put out a fire. Hard to put it out. And fire department had to drag it out just to save the house and isolate the battery fire. Yeah, lithium battery fires are chemical fires, and chemical fires are very difficult to kill. It's cold there in Lolo. Yeah, it's cool here too, Montana Boy. We're expecting single digits at night of the rest of the week, and we had about 4 inches snow overnight. So yeah, those lithium battery fires are very hard to get put out because that's a chemical fire, and even an ABC won't touch them once they get going. I could tell a story from way back in probably 2000, 1999, somewhere in there. We had relocated a UPS in a server room for the company I worked at, and for somehow one of the batteries got cracked. That was lead acid batteries. The electrolyte leaked out to a metal tray, shorted from the battery to the metal tray, started on fire, and the fire department had to do the same thing with that. They had to pull that UPS out of the server room, clear outside of the building, and even then they had to just sit and kind of monitor it, because you can't, these battery fires, they're just almost impossible to put out. But yeah, that was a drag. But they figured that out. It didn't burn to the ground, and the insurance company took that UPS. That was an expensive fire, because they set off 2 ABC fire extinguishers in the server room. So that was a hell of a mess to get cleaned up, for sure. We had to do a lot of specialty cleaning on server equipment and stuff like that. So, right, it's a Keep Alive battery. Thanks, Tom. I didn't know that. Montana Boy says batteries are actually overheating, and once they start, it's impossible to put out. Yeah, single digits here too, for sure, in Lolo. Yeah, those battery fires, they're almost always caused by the charger, not by the actual battery. I mean, batteries do short out. They do explode. I've actually had a lead acid battery, explode on an emergency generator that we had in a server room. And it was not pleasant. I mean, it blew acid everywhere. Fortunately, we had a safety shower at the building, and I was able to go safety shower and wash the battery acid off of me, but it sure destroyed all the clothes I was wearing. Oh, it's located in the fuse compartment. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I've had a couple of close calls like that, Montana Boy. But yeah, that was not pleasant. It was really interesting. It was overcharged. Totally, the battery had been overcharging. And we walked in to start the generator, and I had 4 or 5 of the maintenance people outside of the building. And I walked in and I hit the ether. This is on an old, 271 Detroit. And I touched the battery, or touched the starter, and that battery exploded and threw acid and plastic everywhere. Yeah, cleanup definitely costs more than the fire, that's for sure. All right, we're rambling. Thanks, guys. Good night. We'll see you next week. Bye. Appreciate your support, for sure.